HP, you know, you want that priority. Pyro Ball, which is the one move that I am very confused of. So between the 3 starters, Cinderace is the one that has a move that does not have perfect accuracy. Pyro Ball has like 90 accuracy. Rocky Helmet, nice. It has 90 accuracy, which means it's not perfect. It means that it's missing a little bit of accuracy, but it's got more power than all the other ones. I think Rillaboom's has a chance of lowering defense, I think, with its move, which I got really confused, because I was like, shouldn't it... Dedenne, it's my favorite electric type. Actually, I got really confused, because in my head, shouldn't it... Oh, this is the entrance. Oh, I went back to the entrance, okay. Cool. I should heal power points, but I'm going to wait till everybody is, like, out of moves for me to do that. Because it should be easy for me to get back anyway. I mean, I have a way of going back. So because my Cinderace only ever had, like, those moves, because that's all it learned during level up, I got stuck at the 4th gym. So that is the only ever time that I actually had to switch out because of that. Now, if you are going to go do that kind of challenge, so let's pull out for the refreshing battle. If you're going to do that challenge, I recommend either giving it TRs, like going out and trying to get the TRs. I think for my second time, I think I gave it Iron Head and I don't remember what the other one was. But I ended up giving it, like, Iron Head and something else, just to actually not get stuck on shields again. But I ended up doing, doing the whole challenge again, but this time with the Libero, and I actually gave it TRs this time. Because I actually wanted it to actually be very fruitful in actually, like, seeing if it was actually really good. I didn't do it with Rillaboom. And it's not because there's anything bad with Rillaboom or anything like that. It's because, like, I know how good Rillaboom was before I even have the grassy terrain. And I've already done the calculations and how easy it would have been. Because, again, because I did it with both the Cinderace and the... What's the water one? Inteleon. I already did it with those without the hidden ability and with the hidden ability. But I did it with both the hidden ability and not hidden ability, with full level 100 status. So if I would have done it with Rillaboom, which I already beat the Elite Four with Rillaboom at level 100, so I already knew that it was actually doable. Because I leveled up my Pokemon to so I could have beaten Pokemon Sword day 1, but I decided to work on getting my Rillaboom to level 100 first before I ended up doing it. But I always tell people that I did beat it day 1 because I technically did. Because within the game's timer, I did it within 24 hours. And if I didn't actually sleep that day, I would have actually finished it day 1. I would have. Or if I would have gone up earlier in the day or whatever, I would have actually beaten the game earlier. But it's fine. I still say that I beat it day 1 because I technically would have. I would have done it. I wanted to see if I could actually get my Rillaboom to level 100 before I even did it, and I did. And it was pretty easy with the XP candy. And that's when I found out that the XP candies are really broken by normal standard. And my normal leveling strategy for it is that the first time I went into the wild area, I fought all of the dens once, or I fought all the dens that I could get to once. And then I moved to the next area. First one I live in, breathe in, does stand a chance. Okay. I ended up moving to the... Oh, this thing's interesting. I ended up moving... Okay, give me a second. Let me try and catch up to where my brain is trying to get to. So, like, when I first got to the wild area, I fought 10 of the dens, because the lights would reset after the 10, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep that in mind. I ended up sharing the experience candies between all of my Pokemon that I had in the party. This was my first mistake. But I didn't want to just rely on one Pokemon. So I ended up getting my Grookey to be the second evolution. The name escapes me. So I ended up getting it to its second evolution pretty quick, but everybody else was already around its level. I should have just given it all to Grookey. But anyway, so by the time I ended up being at the third gym, I don't want to say you're forced. You technically have to go back to the wild area. So I'm like, while I'm here, I'll just go do 10 of the dens again. So I do another 10 dens, but this time I just give it all to my starter. Because that's the only Pokemon I've used. Burnt out. Although I will say, though, that I did go back into the wild area before I beat the third gym to get a TM. Or was it a TR? I think it was a TM. The TM or TR for Bulldoze. And I ended up giving that to my Rillaboom. And that's pretty much how I beat the Fire Gym Leader, was that I used Rillaboom, who was higher level. I'm just gonna bypass you. There's more trainers. Alright, fine, I'll fight you. I'm trying out a new lineup of Pokemon. Want to help me out? Don't hold back. Yeah, I don't know how long this, how long I'm gonna go. I'm gonna probably get up to the Pokemon League and then see if I can divide it, and then Earth Power. But yeah, but like after I went through the second time, like after I beat the third gym, I ended up saying like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go face all 10 of the dens again. I did that, and then I went to the next area. And then when I went to the next area, I ended up like doing the whole thing again until before I think the 8th gym. Yeah, before the 8th gym, I ended up going through another 10 times to get like the last minute training kind of thing, and then I ended up doing the 8th gym that way. And then after I did that, I ended up, before the Elite Four, I went through the wild area once again to get the final training. And technically this time I ended up keep doing it until I got my Rillaboom, which I originally named Grumsley for no reason. I just thought it was a lovely name, and it was actually kind of funny to say, so I'm like, Grumsley, go! And then, in the middle of the game, I kid you not, by the time I went to the first gym, I started, like, sort of, like, ignoring part of its name. Instead of saying Grumsley, I kept calling him Grum. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just get rid of the Islay part, and I'll just keep Grum. So I ended up keeping Grum, so I ended up just using Grum throughout the rest of the game. I was like, go Grum, and then Grum entered the battlefield, and then I just ended up just playing the game with Grum only. And yes, I still have the, like, Grum. I think he's actually in Pokemon Home. I have to go with Vampiro. So like I still have him, and I've actually gotten to use PK Hex on him, not to actually change any stats. Just wanted to see what his EV totals were and stuff like that, and his IV total. His IVs were about 10s and 20s in most of the stats, and I thought, wow, that's pretty impressive for a starter that I did not know ahead of time if it was even good or not. I was like, that's a pretty good stat spread. And his EVs, of course, were all over the place, so I wasn't really too angry about that. Like, I kind of knew that it was going to be all over the place. It is like a playthrough kind of EV gain, so I wasn't really... And plus, because I didn't know what Pokemon gave what, so obviously I wouldn't have known that, like, this Pokemon, let's say, would give you attack EVs, or this one would give you speed EVs, or this one would give you health. So to me, I was like, you know what, it's still good no matter what. And it's not like Grum really suffered from that either. His end of move pool was, I think it was Drum Beating, which is this grass move that is unique to only Rillaboom. I originally gave him, I think it was... No, okay, so like I gave him Darkest Lariat when I got it from a... den, and I was like, Darkest Lariat, isn't that just like Incineroar's like... Isn't that Incineroar's move? And I'm like, well, like, how am I going to use this? I don't even have Incineroar. So this TR is useless. And if it was actually real life and I had the TR in my hand, I would have thrown it at the wall because I thought it was useless. And then I'm like, well, I might as well see if anybody can learn it. I mean, maybe it's one of those attempts, or maybe it's one of those things where it was a unique move for only one Pokemon to learn, and then they changed it. Sure enough, Rillaboom could learn it, and I'm like, oh, that's actually an amazing move to give to Rillaboom. So I gave it to Rillaboom. And that was his second move. And of course, you all know that I gave it Bulldoze for the third gym. After the third gym, I ended up trying to figure out what other move to end up giving a Rillaboom, and unfortunately, I couldn't come up with any ideas that actually made a lot of sense. Oh, I have to continue further? No! I'm trying to find a way out. So I can't heal, which is sad. So I might have to go with Dynamite. That's sad. Unless there's a way I can go around somewhere? No. Unless up here has anything. No, so I have to go continue on. No! I'll have to switch to Wintario. Do you still have Surfs? You do? Awesome. Actually, I'm going to switch your Surfs around. Oh yeah, that should be fine. There, yeah, that should be fine. And then I ended up getting Bulk Up from a TM, I think, or TR or whatever, and I'm like, that would be perfect for like my Rillaboom, because I actually need the extra attack, and defense doesn't really hurt that much. And then I gave it Bulk Up, and then that became my move pool for mostly the rest of the game, was Drum Beating, Darkest Lariat, Bulk Up, and Bulldoze. Then when I got to the... give me a second. The mountain rumbles underfoot your travelers now. Do you hear it? The furious howling of the wind. No, I don't hear anything. Anyway. But by the time I got towards like the end of the game, I wanted to take a look at all the shops that might have possibly had TMs and TRs or stuff like that. So I ended up looking, and I found a Drain Punch one, and I'm like, if Rillaboom can learn this, that could actually help out a lot. So I said, you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure out if my Rillaboom can actually learn this TM. Did it just remove its partner's stat changes? That's actually kind of funny. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm getting this. And it can actually learn it. So I got rid of Bulldoze for that. So now I had a recovery move. So I had a setup, I had recovery, I had a move that I think ignores defense changes. I think that's how it works. That part I can be entirely wrong, and I would completely like believe it. And Drum Beating, which I find that should actually do a different stat kind of thing. Actually, give me a second. I'll find out if it's actually... It decreased a stat that I didn't understand at all. I definitely do think that it was actually defense that it dropped. And I'm like, why wouldn't it drop speed? Because it makes sense. Oh no, it did drop speed. What? Okay, there was a different effect that I was thinking of then. Oh no, there was a different ability that I thought that it should have or something like that. I don't know, maybe I thought it would be like sort of like a wrap kind of thing, like it's continuous damage. I don't remember anymore. It was probably so early on in like Sword and Shields kind of thing that I ended up forgetting about it. Oh no, Wintario survived. Good job. Of course he flinched. Because I definitely don't remember anymore. Because I thought it was actually that. Okay, Wintario, I'm going to switch you out with... It's going to try and use a steel move, maybe. Going to Ice Beam you. Now, of course, you're going to try and hit the other Pokemon. Why am I not surprised? Oh, I thought they would do more. Really? That didn't do any damage, though. Why did it take so much health off? Oh, my word, man. Yeah, because I don't even think I can actually give it... I'm trying to, like, bait it into, like, attacking this side instead of Wintario, but it's going to try and hit Wintario with anything. And it's going to flinch me. Oh, perfect.